There is a specific type of person who can walk into any room, talk to anyone, and make it look effortless. They don't need a clever opener, they don't overthink it, they just start naturally and confidently like it's the most normal thing in the world. And then there's everyone else, standing at the edge of the room, waiting for the right moment, going through opening lines in their head that never feel quite right, and eventually the moment passes and nothing happens. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what the first type of person is doing differently. I'm breaking it down into 5 specific steps. First, 2 mindset shifts, and then 3 concrete techniques. They are all very simple, easy to apply, and work no matter where you're starting from. After watching this video and some practice, you will be able to start a conversation with literally anyone. A stranger, a girl you like, or a colleague. Doesn't matter. Anyone, anywhere, anytime. So let's get straight into it. Mindset shift 1. Stop waiting for the perfect opener. The reason why most of your conversations feel forced is because you're trying to follow a script. Here is what happens. You see someone you want to talk to. You think of something to say. Then you second guess it. You think of something better. You second guess that too. And while you are busy with overthinking, the moment slips away. And every second that passes makes it more awkward to start, until it feels almost impossible. We've all been there. You see a girl at a party, and you think about walking over. 30 seconds pass, then a minute. And then someone else starts talking to her and you're standing there watching, regretting that you didn't have the courage to approach her. The longer you wait, the worse it gets. Your brain does not calm down the longer you think. It builds more pressure, more reasons not to go, more ways how it could go wrong. So here is what helps. The 3-second rule. The moment the thought arises that you want to talk to someone, you give yourself 3 seconds. Then you go. Don't worry about what you're actually going to say yet. We will cover exactly that in the concrete techniques later in this video. The very first step is to simply stop overthinking and act. That works so well because the best openers are the ones you did not prepare. Because when it is unplanned, it is real, and real always lands better than practiced. Okay, great, so now we got the first and foremost step. Now let's make this genuinely easy and automatic by applying Mindset Shift 2, the talk to everyone mindset. The biggest mistake most guys make when it comes to starting conversations is this. They only talk to people they want something from, and that's exactly what blocks them. If the only time you try to start a conversation is when you're standing in front of someone you really want to impress, of course it feels high pressure, of course you freeze, you've had 0 practice, you're trying to perform at your best in the most important moment with 0 warm-up. The guys who are naturally good at starting conversations don't save it for special occasions. They talk to everyone. The cashier at the supermarket, the guy waiting for the same bus, the person standing next to them in line. They aren't trying to make friends with everyone. They simply are keeping themselves socially loose. And here is what happens when you do this consistently. You stop being in your head. You stop treating every conversation like a performance. You just talk, because talking to people has become the most normal thing in the world to you. So start small. For example, when you're at the supermarket, don't just pay in silence. Say one extra sentence to the cashier, like, "Have a good weekend." Or if you're waiting for the coffee machine in the office kitchen with a colleague, instead of just staring at the floor, say, "I swear, I need this coffee so bad right now." Or when you're at the gym and want to use a machine that is taken, ask the simplest question possible. "Hey, how many sets do you have left?" These little interactions don't carry much weight on their own, but the more often you do them, the more you're building your social muscle. And when you finally stand in front of someone you actually care about impressing, the muscle memory is already there. This mindset is what gets you loose and open. And I already shared a few examples of what this could look like. But now comes the most important question. What exactly do you say? Let me show you some specific techniques for that, which are very simple and easy to remember, starting with Technique 1. Read the surrounding, say the obvious. Let me tell you how I ended up flirting with a girl in an empty flower field on Mother's Day, with no opener, no plan, and no idea it was going to happen. I was invited to my family for Mother's Day, and last minute as always, I decided to stop on the way and pick some flowers at one of those fields where you pay and pick them yourself. The problem was, I had come too late. Almost all flowers were already picked. I got there, and the field was basically empty. There was a man in front of me, clearly doing the same desperate search for any flowers left. So I just said out loud what was obviously true. "Looks like we showed up a little late. That is what you get for leaving everything to the last minute." He laughed and agreed, said he would have to find flowers somewhere else now. Then I noticed a girl around my age nearby, also searching through the field, who had clearly heard this little exchange. She was already smiling, so I just continued naturally. "Oh, another last-minute flower hunter." She laughed and we started talking. After a flirty exchange, we ended up walking through the field together looking for whatever was left. The whole thing happened completely by itself. I did not plan any of that. I did not use a line. I just looked at what was right in front of me, an obvious situation we were all in, and said it out loud. That's the whole thing. Your surroundings are the easiest place to start because the situation you're both in is already right there. You don't need to invent anything. You just need to say what is obvious. But what if the situation gives you nothing? What if there is no shared chaos, no obvious thing to comment on? Then you can use Technique 2. Read the person. Give a genuine compliment. This is the most powerful way to start a conversation with absolutely anyone, even if it's a complete stranger. I was at the gym, just finishing my workout and heading to the stretching area to cool down when I saw a girl doing a full split right next to me. And I just said what I was thinking. Wait, how are you able to do that? That's very impressive. She laughed and told me that she's a very ambitious person and always trying to learn new things. We got into a conversation and by the end, she had given me her number and we actually started dating afterwards. I didn't use a cheesy pickup line. I didn't use a strategy. I just said the thing that was already in my head instead of filtering it out, and the rest happened completely naturally. And that is exactly why it worked, because it was real. I was genuinely impressed. I genuinely wanted to know, and she could feel that. That's the key with compliments. Generic ones fall flat because they could be said to anyone, but a specific compliment, one that is about something you actually noticed, something that took real attention to see, that hits differently. It tells the other person that you're actually seeing them. You don't need to wait for a special situation. You don't need a smooth opener. You just need to stop filtering out the genuine thoughts that are already in your head and say them out loud. The moment you stop editing yourself and start saying the real thing, conversations start to feel easy because they are no longer about performing. They are just about being honest. But what if the person isn't standing out? What if they aren't doing a full split? That's when you can use Technique 3. Read the object. Ask a visual question. You don't need a clever line to talk to someone. All you actually need is your eyes. Most people think you need something to happen before you can start a conversation, but this technique works even when there is nothing going on. No shared situation, no obvious opener. All you need is your eyes, and this is the technique. Ask a visual question. A visual question is when you notice something specific about a person, something you can actually see, and ask about it. Not a generic compliment, a genuine question about something real that caught your attention. For example, you are in a cafe and the person next to you has a drink that looks incredibly complicated. You just say, "Okay, what exactly is that?" Because it looks more like a dessert than a drink. Or you're in a bookstore and someone is holding 3 different books, looking slightly overwhelmed. You say, "Are those all for fun, or are you studying for something specific?" You are at the gym and someone is doing an exercise you have never seen before. You ask, "What does that actually work? I have never seen this exercise before." None of these require massive courage. None of them require a script. They just require you to notice what is actually in front of you and be curious enough to ask about it. And that is the key word, genuine. A visual question only works if you are actually curious. If you are making something up just to have a reason to talk, people feel it. But if you genuinely want to know, if the question is real, that comes through too. And real curiosity is one of the most disarming things one person can show another. You do not need a special situation. You do not need perfect timing. You just need to look, notice something real, and ask about it. Okay, great. Now you know exactly how to start a conversation with absolutely anyone, anywhere, anytime. But all of this is useless if 30 seconds later you run out of things to say and stand there in awkward silence. If you want to know how to hold a conversation for as long as you want, smooth and naturally, then watch this video right here.